Hi everyone, Michael Anfield here, and thank you for joining me. It's beautiful here in Tanglewood. Yes, we're at Tanglewood Health and Wellness Center, I believe it's called. And I'm at the Tanglewood Food Festival in Costa Rica. It's a beautiful place, right in the middle of basically nowhere. And I really just love this place. I want to talk a little bit about this place and give my view on this whole entire food festival and Lauren Lockman and the people that working here and all this stuff. So I'm just gonna go right here where it's, hold on one second, try and get the best light. Oh, here we go, something like that. So I have, okay, so overall I feel this festival is really great. However, for some people that really want to learn about eating more fruit and eating more raw foods but don't have the money, it's unfortunately pretty expensive. It is a 1 week, and so you can get tickets like, I don't know, I think as low as $600 or $700, something like that. If you book as early as possible, then it will be much less for sure. So the price may be a bit high for some people, and it may be just okay. I mean, look at it. If you go to a resort or somewhere, you're going to be paying at least $1,000 US for sure. So um, it's not too expensive, but then sometimes some people might find it expensive. So what else? I find that they give you enough food, not as much variety, but enough food. And they give you unlimited food basically. So you can eat almost any time that you want. But they do give you 3 meals, so it's really great. And one thing that I do, I mean, I don't like to talk about the negatives, but I like to talk about the positives. And I think there's a lot of positives when it comes to the Tanglewood Food Festival, even after their 4th year. So this year they had at least 30 or 40 people. So it was really great to see this many people. It's a very small festival. So I like their concept, the whole concept of this place. It's a really amazing place. Two things I found questionable and objectable is that, and I'm gonna say the worst one last, but the one thing I really didn't find to be sound is the fact that they're using some plastic, and some of the plastic may be non-biodegradable. So that's one thing. Okay, there's actually three things. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is it doesn't seem like they're using um, their own. They're not generating their own power. So they're not definitely not generating their own power. So they're getting it off the grid. Now the grid in Costa Rica is supposedly about 98% renewable energy. 98%. So most likely they're using renewable energy through the grid, but they could have their own power. They definitely could have their own power because at least 2 or 3 times the power went off for a little while and we were without power. So that's another drawback. With that, they don't have compostable toilets. They don't do composting here. Uh, Composting, yes, they do that, but not human or composting. So they only do fruit and vegetable scraps, but not human or composting. Another thing, kind of with that, is the fact that if they get like one of the people here actually um, was using egg shells for composting. So he got the eggshells from another farm or some neighbor, and is using that to put in their compost. Now, I don't agree with that. I believe that it should be all veganic, so no animal inputs at all, using animal inputs. So we still see animals' things to be used, even though it may be the most ethical, but we see their products as something to be used. So, the worst thing that I've seen, and that was yesterday, was when we went for a hike. We went for a hike all the way down to, or actually, I should say all the way. Hold on. What was it? All the way, yeah, all the way down and then all the way back up. It was basically to carry the watermelons, and some people, they used horses. And Lauren Lockman was all right with using horses. The horses were on very short ropes tied to trees. They hardly could move around. Some of them were using bits, the metal bits in their mouth. They were being used as things, as property. They're seen as property. And people were riding them. It was unethical. As a vegan fruitarian community, it's not a community, it's a fruit festival, they were using and abusing animals. They had a whip. The gentleman, the Tico, had a whip, and it was just not good. And the animals seemed very lonely and depressed and sad. And it definitely was not by any means vegan. So this was one thing that I really did not enjoy, did not like at all. And so this I found really appalling. Now, I told others, and some of them agreed with me, and I gave even a talk a day before to everyone, including Lauren Lockman, about love and compassion, how we should be loving all beings and not using them or exploiting them for anything. And I told them my story of awakenings, a couple stories, and still they did this. Each of us could have carried some watermelons. We didn't have to carry as many watermelons as we could have eaten all the way back up with the car. So there's a lot of other alternatives. We don't need to use horses at all. Now, if some people absolutely can't get up and down, they should not be going in the first place, because there was at least one or two people, or a few people, that just didn't have the means to go up and down, or at least majority of the way. And so we should not be using animals, non-human animals. We should not be exploiting them. And that's that. So that's like the biggest thing that I found objectionable. I found that some people were okay with using these animals that were clearly in pain and suffering, because no matter what, they have these heavy harnesses on their backs, which break their backs, as well as people sitting on them, which really breaks their backs. And that's the whole reason when we say we have to break these animals. We have to break their spirits. We have to break their bond between their families, and we separate them, and we take them from their natural wildlife habitat, and we take them away from their families. We separate them. We beat them. We have to do everything we can to break their spirit, to break their purpose, to take their purposes away. And in fact, we lose our purpose when we take their purpose away. So I don't believe in using any animals at all, non-human animals. I think even if they were willing to be ridden, I would not do it. So that was like the really biggest drawback. But otherwise, Tanglewood Food Festival was amazing. And that is the problem with these festivals. They're all about health and environmental issues. Usually not about ethics. And when they are, it's not the entire festival. It's not the core principle. So the core principle of Tanglewood is about health and about environment stewardship, and really not about ethics. Even though they don't use animals for food, for sure, they still use the animals. They still use these horses, which, in my opinion, is not vegan, not ethical, not morally ethical. And they were still using eggshells, which, in my opinion, yeah. So if you want to learn more about this in detail, you can definitely get my books, Return to the Gentle Sea, For the Love That Lives in Everyone, and really learn about why we should not be using animals. I have a lot of videos about that. There's a lot of videos on YouTube about riding horses, why it's unethical to ride horses. We break their spirit, take their purpose away. We break the bond between the families. It's just overall not a good thing. It's a very negative thing that we do to animals, and that's really about it. But otherwise, Tanglewood Fruit Festival is amazing. It was my first time going to a fruit festival ever, so I gave a talk there again, and I sold a majority of my books, and it was just really great experience. So thank you all that made this possible, to Lauren, to everybody who made this possible, and really that's about it, everyone. So if there's anything else I need to add, because we're still not at the end, there's a few more days until the end of the festival, I will definitely update in this video. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.